Okay, so you have some sense of what to cite. Now we got to talk about how to cite. Three types of citations, if you will. The first is a parenthetical in the paper itself. This is going to be the indication, sorry to move it around there, this is going to be the indication that there is something that you want to cite, and I'm going to see it as I'm reading the paper. But it's a shortened version of the full citation. And you use parentheses, we'll look at it in just a second. The second is the cited source list. So the parentheticals point to the longer list. So there's going to be parenthetical number 1, and that's going to coincide with cited source number 1. This is going to have the abbreviated information. The cited source will have the full information. And then finally there's a source list, which is just an alphabetical listing of all the sources that you use to write this paper, whether or not you cite them or not. So let's look in a paper at a cited source. Here we go. The term hate crime originated with the creation of the Ku Klux Klan in the 1980s. Boy, I didn't know that. Really? Hate crime originated? That's something I'd want to see cited, because I thought it might have been a much older term. But it seems like it was formally originated with creation of the, and I know that this probably is true because this student has the source cited. This is the 35th source that they've cited in the paper. They do a superscript 35, which is the next in line. Then they use a parentheses. There's the parentheses. And it is not superscript in the parentheses. And they give credit to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, comma, and then the simple URL. Okay? Now if we're to flip to the end of the paper, the conclusion finishes, and the next thing to show is the sources cited, the source list, starting with 1, but on the top of this page we have 32. You may remember that on the previous page it was source 35. So here's source 35. And this gives greater detail to that source using MLA format. So hate crimes is from this website was the title, the FBI Federal Bureau of Investigation. There is a date, it's on the web, and then the full URL is listed here. Okay, that gets us through the first two. 1, the parenthetical. 2, the source list. And then here's just a simple example of what the cited sources. I think I said source list before, excuse me. Cited sources, meaning the sources that are cited, and then there's the source list or bibliography. They're sometimes used interchangeably. So this 1 does not direct you to anything in the paper. In fact, I don't care if you use numbers on this. It's a alphabetized list of all the sources that were in your paper. I don't know why we're getting this weird blank here, but that's also a B. So that is your source list or your bibliography. That's really all you need to know. I showed you an example of a website, but please note each type of source is explained. How you cite a book versus a website versus a magazine article is explained in that document. How to cite your sources, which I gave out early in the year, that doc. And then just remember, even in that document that I gave you, it's possible that there's some there that I did before we adopted the MLA standard. So please, in the end, go with MLA. That's the one that's probably the easiest for you to find. That is a style of listing sources, and that's the one that I want you to go with, is the MLA version. Okay, I'm sure there'll be some questions, but I hope a lot of them have been answered here.